turning to my own area of expertise, health, and an example that I was directly involved in had to do with when there was a threat of a new emerging pandemic flu in Mexico. And it was really the fact that Mexico stepped right up to the plate, said, we have this emerging problem that raises a lot of concerns. We need to work with you, the United States. We need to work with other countries in the region to mobilize as quickly as possible to understand the nature and scope of the problem that's potentially before us. And that really, I think, enabled an appropriate and rapid response that matters when you have a pandemic threat. Too often in the past, there have been examples where countries have not come forward and where problems have festered and worsened, making response more difficult. So I think that the working relationships between scientists and public health experts served as a foundation for rapid mobilization of governments in a critical moment in time.
Where does the difference lie between science diplomacy and international collaboration? Is it the same thing, or is there a difference?
Well, I think they're all part of the same puzzle, but there are distinctions. Scientific collaboration, scientist to scientist, scientific institution to scientific institution, can form a very strong foundation for other activities that go beyond the sphere of strictly science into diplomacy and international relations. But science diplomacy is a little bit different because it also involves coming at it the other way with diplomats and government leaders and other thought leaders, understanding the importance of science and building on that, and understanding the potential to use scientific programs and scientific challenges to bring countries together in new ways.
How can science diplomacy help in the fight against Ebola?
Well, it's crucial because Ebola is a very serious disease. It's a disease that obviously can spread in devastating ways. It's a disease that not only can spread in terms of the actual health risk, but it also creates enormous instability, uncertainty, and fear, and that can spread, very quickly and far beyond the actual dimensions of the disease threat itself. And so again, this working together, both scientist to scientist and government to government, is crucial. Openness, trust, sharing of information, and accepting the potential downsides of openness, because you're confident that you're going to get collaboration with other countries as a result, and not being treated like a pariah, is absolutely essential. And in fact, those kind of disease outbreaks have huge impacts that go beyond the health impact. The destabilization of countries, the diminishment of trust and confidence in government, and the impact on economies. So, every nation in fact benefits in that kind of a setting by opening up and being collaborative, but it doesn't just happen out of nowhere. And the building of relationships and the development of this kind of scientific diplomacy foundation is key.
And the role of diasporas, how does that help with science diplomacy? How can that come into play?
Well, I think it can help in terms of communities in one nation better understanding the issues and concerns and the culture, both the human culture, the political culture, and the scientific culture in another country, to help build those bridges of trust, confidence, and collaboration.
And the work of the AAAS, how does that contribute to this?
Well, the AAAS, as the largest scientific membership organization in the world, cutting across disciplines of science, sectors, and boundaries, even though it's the American Association for the Advancement of Science, and in fact is an international organization with international membership, really creates a venue for people to come together to talk about and address important issues that are shared. It also can provide critical leadership. It's a trusted voice, a source of information and evidence that needs to be brought to bear on the most important problems before us, all of our individual nations, but us as a global community as well.
Right. And can I ask about gender? So you're a woman at the top of science. In many countries it's quite hard for women to really get to those top positions. What needs to change?
Well, this is actually a discussion that we're deeply involved in and deeply committed to, because we have to make sure that science is inclusive. It benefits greatly from diversity of all kinds, and women have a lot to offer in the domain of science, as well as in so many other professional disciplines as well. We have to make sure that there's an environment that fosters the engagement of females, young girls, in terms of their early education in science, technology, engineering, and math, drawing them into careers in science. And then we want to make sure they don't get lost along the way as they move from their early years of education into college and university, and then into their professional lives. And this is a problem that we all have to work on together. All countries are facing this challenge in different ways, but it's one that really matters to the future. It matters in terms of enabling all individuals to realize their full potential, but it really matters to the advancement of science and, frankly, to peace and prosperity around the world.
What would you say to a young woman looking at you and hoping to get to where you are today? What advice would you give?
Well, role models really do matter. It's really valuable to be able to look at someone and say, someday I could do that too. So it's a combination of having role models and pathways for people to move forward. And certainly as I have advanced in my career, and I've been very fortunate in terms of the opportunities that I've had, I see one of my responsibilities as now a senior woman in science to reach out and do that mentoring, to really recognize that we have to be nurturing that next generation.
Great, thank you.